Anthony Joshua has agreed, whether or not he's agreed, to step aside, which would allow Tyson Fury to fight Alexander Usyk. So has he agreed or has he not? We're going to hear from Joshua in just a moment. But it's become apparent in the last 20-25 minutes that Tyson Fury, for one, is becoming increasingly impatient. Now, we've got news in the next few minutes about this, but Fury wants to know, who am I fighting next? He'd just done a session this morning, and then he said this.
Another gym session done. Tuesday morning smashed. Tick, 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 tock is the subject of today. Is Dillian Whyte going to fight me? Is Anthony Joshua going to step aside? Let me know, because I am sick of looking at these bums. Sick of listening to their excuses. Tick, tick, tock. The time has run out the bottle. You're all getting a good hiding, cowards.
So he's saying, get a move on. I want to know what is going on.
Yep.
Somebody very close to this whole thing, Simon, told me the figure is wrong of 15 million for Joshua.
Yep.
It's not 15 million. Anyway, that's by the by. But the talks have been going on, and that it is indeed agreed. And they're waiting on what he calls an MOU.
Yeah, Memorandum of Understanding. Yeah, which is basically an agreement in principle.
Right.
Not a legally enforceable one, but an agreement in principle.
So, I mean, we must be darn close to this. I'm surprised that Fury's coming out and trying to rush it through this morning. This certainly was Joshua last night, adding even an element of even more confusion to the whole thing.
You know what's bad about all these interviews I see? I see certain interviews that quote what I said, and I think to myself, I ain't done no interviews. Where did this person get this information from? I'm hearing people saying AJ accepts 15 million to step aside. I ain't signed no contract. I ain't seen no contract. So as it stands, stop listening to the till it comes from me. I'm the man in control of my destiny. I'm the man that handles my business. I'm a smart individual and I make calculated decisions every step of the way. Don't listen to the from other sources. If I tell you something, then you know it's real.
Mm-hmm.
So it's all getting a bit ridiculous, isn't it?
Indeed.
You get Fury last night saying this
I
morning
think it's other
saying
people.
that.
I think it's other people's gift to tell you that you're smart, not necessarily yourself.
Yeah.
But Anthony Joshua is very clear. It's very easy, isn't it, Anthony? Make an unequivocal statement about about the direction of travel you're going in, because there's no smoke without fire. I mean, there is only one thing worse than people talking about you, is people not talking about you. So the fact that people are talking about the whole landscape keeps all of them in the focus. It's simple. You know, Tyson Fury's being clever, but he said 4 or 5 months ago, these are my list of fights. I'm going to fight Dillian Whyte. I'm going to fight this. Well, fight Dillian Whyte then. Get on your decision, control your direction of travel, fight Dillian Whyte. Don't worry about Usyk and Joshua, fight Dillian Whyte. It's a mandatory. If you were a mandatory challenger for your belt, you'd be having something to say about why you're not getting a fight. So why don't you fight the fight that you should fight?
Yeah.
And then you fight the unification fight. So Usyk gets his rematch against Joshua, who clearly doesn't want it. Otherwise it would be done now, wouldn't it? And the problem is that we're looking at a landscape of integrity. Joshua gets a bit... If he doesn't fight Usyk, then everything we know about Joshua goes out the window, and everything we've begun to learn about him is the facts of the matter. It becomes about money. Joshua is a business and a powerhouse of finances. He takes step-aside money because he gets beat by Usyk and thinks he gets beat and he loses everything. And then he comes back round the back door and gets to fight the winner of Fury. Usyk probably gets beat again, but gets paid twice the amount of money. Where's the integrity in that?
So if you were advising Joshua, you would say, think of the loss of face here. If you
I'm
accept
advising
step-aside money.
If I'm advising Joshua, I say you get beat by Usyk second time round. What's the point of taking that fight? So you might as well take a big bag of money for doing nothing, and then you get the added benefit of being able to fight the winner of Fury Usyk, which will probably be Fury.
Right.
So you end up with Fury anyway,
Yeah.
except you get paid twice.
And yet you're being critical of AJ.
No, I'm not being critical. I'm talking about the reality of advising him from an honest, objective point of view. If you're talking about what I would think as a boxing fan and what I think that Joshua should do as a fighting man, as a person that says, I avenge defeats, I stop at nothing, I'm frightened of no one, I am the best around and I will prove it, you have to go back in the ring with Usyk. You were humiliated. You were schooled. You fought completely the wrong fight, and the only reason you didn't get knocked out is because Usyk has had the audacity to turn around and say he eased off.
Yeah.
He eased off.
Yeah,
so I think got to fight this guy.
This is why people get exasperated by the sport of boxing, isn't it? Because all the talking, all the chatter actually goes on outside the ring, and a hell of a lot of it at the moment.
But it's money, and it's also a business. And you have to put that into context as well. The business of boxing, the product is Dillian White. The product is Tyson Fury. The product is Anthony Joshua. That's their product. It's Anthony Joshua PLC. So what's like Ed Woodward run a PLC for Manchester United? What happened on the pitch? Not a lot. What happened off the pitch? Huge finances, right? So you now look at Anthony Joshua going, what is the most salient route, the best route to make the most amount of money with the least amount of risk? Is that what a heavyweight champion looks like? Is that what Mike Tyson used to do when he dominated the division until he fell foul of his own private life?
Yeah, he's never stepped aside.
Is that what Lennox Lewis did when he got knocked out by Hazim Rahman? Did he turn around and go, no, I don't fancy fighting him. I'll fight nobody, take step aside money, and I'll come back and maybe lose the second fight, but I'll get paid twice.
Do you agree with the concept of step aside money in any sport?
I think it's appalling. I think it's appalling. I think it's cowardice. This isn't what boxing is. Gladiatorial. It's about the best fight the best, and the obligations that you have. You signed a fight with a rematch clause in it. I bet you're the one that put it in there, and now you don't want it.
Yeah. Having said that, he's probably not asked for it. It's probably been put in as a matter of course by lawyers or whatever.
He would have
on whom these guys depend.
It's standard form now. It never used to be, but it's standard form because it's self-preservation. Rematch clause goes in there. He's the champion. If he loses his belt, it would be commercially silly not to put a rematch clause in there to protect your position. If he hadn't put a rematch clause in there, it'd be crying like a baby now that he can't get an opportunity to put his belt back.
Looking at this, Simon, it appears to me that Joshua's in a no-win situation. If he takes the money, he'll be hammered by people like yourself who say, why do you take step-aside money? And yet, if he doesn't, he's going to get hammered because he goes back in with Usyk again and gets beat.
He says he can beat Usyk. He says he's the best heavyweight. He says he's in control of the destiny, and the destiny should be on a direction of travel. He's put himself forward as the best heavyweight in the world. He believes that, and he's right to believe it. If he believes that, then this isn't about strategy and avoiding Usyk because it's likely on a balance of probability that Fury beats him. We all think, well, that's not true. A lot of people think that Fury beats Joshua. But Joshua can't lose now because if he doesn't fight Usyk, he gets paid the same kind of money he'd get for fighting Usyk as a step aside. And then he gets to fight Fury, and if he loses against Fury, he gets a monumental amount of money.
So you think it's win-win for Joshua?
Where is the nobility in this?
Yeah, exactly.
Where is the real gladiatorial?
Yeah.
If you want to say something, Anthony, you've had 6 months to say it. And as you say, that Eddie Hearn doesn't speak for you. You speak for yourself.
Yes.
Tell everybody unequivocally, without doubt, doesn't matter what the money is, doesn't matter what the circumstances are, I am enacting my rematch clause and I am fighting Usyk. And kill it in the cradle. And the reason why it exists is because probably, and I hope I'm wrong, there will be step-asides.
I have to say, an enormous number of people are agreeing with you. Robin Peterborough is one. Joshua's a walking contradiction. He talks on one hand being a businessman and then talks about a fighter and avenging his losses. At the end of the day, Fury beats them all. I'm not sure about the last part.
Oh, he does.
It might be the case.
He does.
A lot of people are saying,
know it as well.
If he walks away now, if he steps aside now, there's another one. Paul is saying he loses all the credibility that he's ever built up in the sport of boxing, AJ. So we'll see. But Simon, we're now at a crucial period of time because we know that the talks are coming to some kind of a conclusion, and it could well be that Joshua steps aside because I've heard from a couple of sources that it's already agreed that he will.
I hope he doesn't. I hope he doesn't because I think it shows a certain type of character and a certain type of outlook. I also understand why he would because of the money side of things. You're not in boxing because you love it. You're in boxing because it gives you an ultimate outcome. The reason, I mean, we talked about last week with Derek Chisora and he talked about loving fighting, but he also knows that the reason why he's continuing to fight is because he's building a pension for himself. Nothing wrong with that, but it's about money and everything comes down to money in the end. But we have listened to AJ talk about what he is and what he isn't. If he is what he says he is, he has to fight Usyk, and I hope he beats him.
Well, Adam Cattrall, of course, talkSPORT's Fight Night host, I noticed over the weekend, Adam, in no uncertain terms, was saying, I hope that AJ takes the step-aside money because it gives us a chance of seeing him in the ring at the end of the day with Tyson Fury. Adam Cattrall is going to join us.
Doesn't deserve it.
Well, he's going to join us after the break, and then we're also going to talk about the other big fight that's just around the corner. This is going ahead, and we're all over it at talkSPORT. Amir Khan against Kell Brook.
Jim White and Simon Jordan, Monday to Thursday morning, 10 till 1. On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.